Today, my friend and I are going to be attempting to survive 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Day 1. Our journey begins on this mountain. We began by chopping down a tree so we could get a crafting table and some sticks. And then we could craft up wooden pickaxes so we could collect some stone. I upgraded my pickaxe and then continued mining, where we found some iron. And after collecting loads of stone, we crafted up all the stone tools. And whilst Ash was getting lost... Down, yep. I don't even know how. I collected coal off the side of this mountain and then dug into a cave where I was instantly ambushed by 2 skeletons. But I dealt with those pretty quickly. In this cave, I collected some iron and coal whilst Ash was running around in a separate cave gathering more materials herself. After a little while, I left the cave that I was currently in so I could go and look for some food. However, since it was turning nighttime, instead of collecting food, I collected 6 wool, crafted up 2 beds, and then we went to sleep. We began day 2 by crafting up a furnace to cook some food and start smelting iron.
Do you have any sticks?
Any sticks?
Sticks, bones.
Ash found the dog, but unfortunately, none of us had any bones, so we couldn't get the pet dog just yet. After waiting for everything to smelt, we crafted 2 iron pickaxes, as well as 2 shields, and then I myself went into a cave where I collected some bones, so Ash could get the pet dog.
He took all of my bones.
All of your bones? And now we could go out exploring. Not too long later, we found a ruined portal. There was a lot of gold stuff in the chest. We also collected the 2 gold blocks, and then we continued running even further. Come on.
Hey, I'm not the avid 100 days player here. Give me a break.
After a while, off in the distance, we found a desert village and an acacia village too. But first, we were going to go over to the desert village. And by the time we got there, it was nighttime. So we went to sleep before looting the village the next day, getting free food. Yeah. This village had so many cats, which is perfect because every single world, Ash somehow manages to get like 3 billion pet cats. It's kind of crazy. However, unfortunately, she was having a rough time trying to get some fish to tame the cats. There was a blacksmith in this village, though the chest didn't have a whole lot. But after looting that, Ash had finally managed to get a fish, so she could go ahead and try tame a cat. So whilst I was being productive, looting the village, she spent a whole 2 minutes trying to chase down 1 cat, and in the end, she didn't even get to tame it.
What? He didn't take the fish. You know what? I'm done with cats.
Yikes. So after doing a little more village looting, like defeating the Iron Golem, we left the desert village to do the exact same thing over in the Acacia village. Until it turned nighttime. Today, we wanted to start looking for a house location. We saw a random island in the middle of this giant ocean or lake thing, surrounded by the nice blue water, which is when we thought that island could be turned into a cool area for our home location.
I need the people in your YouTube comments to come up with a name for my dog.
You heard her. Give us some name suggestions in the comments down below. On this island, we also noticed it was very small. So for the rest of the day, we simply just went ahead and collected loads of dirt to eventually expand the island out. Just gonna collect loads of dirt.
Collect loads of dirt.
Shut up.
This dirt collecting is so hard. I think I need a cup of tea in it.
And on day 5, we expanded the island quite a bit compared to what it was originally. We also kept an opening underneath the island so we could bring boats through a cool cave underneath the island eventually. These are all just random ideas that we had. It's gonna be like 100 days of waiting for you.
It was like a minute, dude.
But now it was time to go exploring again, this time for a cave entrance. That's right, it's now time to go mining for the first time, technically. However, before we would actually go down into the cave, we wanted to get a water bucket and some extra wood. You get the wood. I'm get water.
Making me do all the hard work, okay?
I'm running over to the water. That's pretty hard work. She's catching on. She's starting to realize. So whilst I collected some water, Ash collected the wood, and then we were ambushed by loads of mobs.
Oh, man.
Down in this cave, we collected some iron, but that's all this place had. It was a pretty small cave. So we had to go back up to the surface and start looking for an even better cave. Bro, where are the caves? Oh, there's a cave.
Perfectly timed, man.
We found another entrance. Oh no, never mind. That entrance didn't lead anywhere. But eventually, we found another cave. Watch out behind you, bro.
Oh my god!
And now we could go around and mine up 10 trillion, billion, million, quadrillion iron ores. How much iron you got?
29.
It's not 36, but you know.
36? Huh? What? Hear me out. I do have 36 now.
Yeah, well, it's not 47, so.
You might have 47, but do you have 50?
61.
Oh.
Yeah, we were like challenging each other to see who could get the most iron, and we ended up getting so much iron, we're just not going to need this much, ever. I did have a close encounter with some cave spiders. Screw cave spiders, get them out of the game.
You might have 61, but do you have 62?
You're so lucky I'm dealing with cave spiders right now. But apart from that, all we really did on this day was go around the caves, continuing to mine up and collect even more materials. We weren't here for diamonds though. That's for a later day. And not too long later, we ended up realizing that we had collected loads of materials already. So we just started smelting everything in our few furnaces that we had. And then we could craft up some iron armor, iron tools, and that's it. We could now go back home. And I left the water up there, didn't I? Because I'm a genius.
Like 30% of the time.
Alright, that's better than your, like, 0.2% of the time, alright?
0.2! I get a 0.2!
Hey, it's not my problem you keep getting lost and forgetting things. Okay, it's like this way. Are you following me? You're not even following me. Where are you?
Where did you go? I'm just gonna keep walking this way.
Yeah?
Do you even know where I am? I don't...
I've got no idea where you are.
I think I'm going the right way.
Are you?
Seems like it.
Bro, I still don't know where you are.
That was you the whole time.
Back at home, we were about to do something that you probably haven't seen anybody do in quite a while. We had loads of spare iron, so we made an iron golem. Now we have our own security guard on this island. Also, since we were still going to probably need a bigger island, we just went ahead and started collecting even more dirt and expanded the island out further. Who let this guy on our island? Get out of here. You know, we're actually quite lucky because those leads that we got from the wandering trader just then would be put to use today. We wanted to move animals over to our island, so at some point we could make some animal farms. We would be moving 2 of every animal to our island, and we could now easily do this because of the new 1.21 feature that allows us to use leads on boats. This was so good. On top of that, we also farmed some sugarcane, but that's it. There's an egg over here. If this egg hatches a chicken, they all need to subscribe.
You're getting 0 subs off this video, dude. If this egg hatches, everyone who is currently subscribed to Blooh should definitely unsubscribe. Don't run away. Don't run away. Now watch this. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought, huh? But now the island size and shape is pretty much how we wanted it to be. We could actually go ahead and start collecting materials for a house build. We went over to a nearby forest and collected loads of oak wood, and then we could also move on to a birch forest and collect loads of that too. Will you get the second dog?
Oh. Uh-oh. Wait, why? Yeah, get him. Get him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But the other materials, well, they would take quite a bit longer to collect. We wanted to get spruce wood now, but wherever we would run, we could not find a forest. Us being a little silly and setting a challenge for ourselves definitely would not have helped either. Which way is the spruce forest gonna be?
This way.
All right. So basically, we were only allowed to run in one direction, no turning. And instead of finding a spruce forest, we found, what is that tree called? A lush tree or something? Azalea tree. That's it. Yeah, we found an azalea tree. This was important because that signified there was a lush cave underneath, which meant we could get glowberries, which was good for decoration. And Ash also wanted a pet axolotl too, so we could probably find one of those in the lush cave. In this lush cave, I collected 39 diamonds. Yeah, that's a whole lot of diamonds. And I got all of this in the time that Ash was still looking for an axolotl. And she didn't even end up finding one. That's actually quite unfortunate. Yeah, so I'm on 39 diamonds right now.
What? I can't even catch a glimpse of an axolotl.
So we continued exploring, eventually collecting loads of spruce wood, and Ash also collected some cherry wood for herself, which meant we could go back home to begin building up our awesome house. Yeah, this ain't any ordinary house. This was going to be way cooler than, I don't know, the Team 10 house in 2016 or something. Man, I don't know. We're building up a house. The first day of this house building session consisted of the first floor of the house, mainly focusing on the front entrance and the other walls that were on the first floor. As you could have guessed by the materials we collected earlier, this house was going to be built up using spruce wood for the pillars and then a gradient of oak and birch logs for the walls as well. And then it was time for day 17. And as you can probably guess, now it was time to build up the second floor, focusing on the walls and other stuff on the second floor. We also finished the front entrance wall too. There was a lot of details on that wall, but it's fine. And then finally, both day 18 and 19 was spent kind of, you know, just finishing off the house. Now, there was one thing that we won't be finishing off anytime soon though, and that is the roof, because we wanted to build the roof out of stone bricks. And first of all, we don't have any stone bricks. And second, it'll probably take quite a bit to not only collect all those materials, but once we collect all the cobblestone, smelting all of it into stone and then turning it into stone bricks would also take even longer. So I built the floors and the ceiling inside the house first, but then that leads on to day 20. Where we started by crafting up full diamond armor with all the diamonds that I had collected from the lush cave a few days ago. It was also around this time where we actually decided to start making a mine entrance and staircase down to the Y level where you can get diamonds. Not only would this give us a chance to get more diamonds, but it'll also allow us to gather all the cobblestone we would need to finish off the house roof. So we continued mining into day 21, where we eventually came across a cave. Here we could collect loads of materials such as lapis, and we also fought off loads of zombies. Loads of zombies.
Oh my god, there's so many baby zombies.
Oh!
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
3 baby zombies. Ah! Go away.
Oh my god.
There's another?
There's 2.
What the heck? But after that, we could then go around and collect even more diamonds, finally ending our session in this specific cave by collecting 14 obsidian, obviously for the enchant table and end portal. We could then leave this cave and finish off mining our staircase down to Y level -54. Also, using all the cobbled deep slate, I crafted up loads of stairs and filled in the staircase so we could get up and down easily as well. There we have it. We were now done with mining. For quite a while at least. And on the following day, I found out that you could put leads on iron golems and walk them around. Look at how goofy they are when running, trying to keep up to me. Oh, yeah, we also finished off the house. That's not too important though. Boom. This is what the house looked like. Pretty nice if I do say so myself. Alright, so we basically have all the necessities besides one thing. We haven't set up any farms yet. Sure, we have loads of hay bales from the villages we looted towards the beginning of this world, but when all that runs out, we would be pretty screwed. So we planted all our crops and made farms out of that. Oh, also, Ash gave our bed some colors. That was pretty cool. And then we also moved all the animals into their own little pens. This wasn't too complicated since, you know, we already had the animals on our island. But after that, we crafted up an enchant table as well as the rest of the diamond tools we would need, and then we could go and start enchanting everything. We then wanted to move our storage inside the house. So that's what we did for the rest of the day. Day 26 was a smaller day. We only did a couple of things, starting by building up the nether portal. We then messed around for a little bit.
I guess I'll have to be the... You know I can still see you when you're facing away from me, right?
No.
I think I've just bone mealed the ugliest cherry tree I think I've ever seen in my life.
What the hell is that?
Did it just like give up on growing halfway through? Like what is going on? Look how flat the bottom is. Look at...
Oh, get this out of here.
Why is there dirt?
What?
You've written hi in dirt.
Where?
What do you mean where? What? How the hell did you get up there?
Finally, ending this day by recruiting some more security guards. That was definitely 72 iron, well spent. Now, after waiting for like 3 minutes whilst Ash prepared herself, we ran over to the nether portal. And now it was time to enter into a brand new dimension. What?
Oh,
no way. What? Yeah, this was pretty crazy because as soon as we entered into the nether, we were sent directly into the nether fortress. So there are now a few materials that we can get from this place, starting with the blaze rods. We ran over to a blaze spawner, which wasn't too far from the nether portal, and then we could go around and start gathering up loads of blaze rods. This was until we had about 12 in total. I think we ended up getting 14, but yeah, it was something around that amount. And now that we had the blaze rods, we could move on to something else. You know, there is another material that you can only get from the nether fortress, and that's our wither skeleton skulls. So we went around collecting 3 skulls, so at some point we could do the wither fight too. This wither skeleton collecting process was interesting. It took around 5 minutes of defeating wither skeletons to get the first skull. But what happened next was even crazier. What? Back to back!
That's crazy.
What? Yep, that's right. We got a wither skeleton skull back to back. Back to back to back? But unfortunately, that's where our luck ends. Yeah, so after that insanely lucky sequence of events, we still needed to get one more wither skeleton skull. Whoa! But it wasn't going to be as easy. You see, we continued running around the nether fortress for ages, destroying every single wither skeleton we would lay our eyes on. But none of them were dropping any skulls. I'm not going to delay this too much. We eventually got the third skull, and now that meant we could leave the fortress. But we weren't done with the nether just yet. We started running towards a bastion that we saw off in the distance, because there was still more stuff for us to collect. And the next item that we were going to get was a netherite upgrade template. The chest in the middle of this bastion had exactly what we needed. The template, and it also came with a free netherite ingot. The second chest also had an enchanted golden apple and another template. We collected all the gold blocks, and then we had everything we needed, so we could finally leave this bastion and finally start collecting the last material that we would need. After running to a warped forest biome, we defeated a couple of endermen before deciding to just trade with piglins since we got so many gold blocks and gold ingots from the bastion. And that's what we did until we had enough ender pearls that we would need, which would allow us to finally return back home. But going through the nether portal led to something interesting. Yeah, we now had a floating portal in the middle of our ocean. How did this happen?
That portal over there looks dumb.
Nah, looks beautiful.
To chill out, day 41 was spent chilling out. Ash was just going around the place, adding decorations, making our home area look nice. And day 42 was also spent decorating the base area. However, first, we had to boat over to the mainland to collect loads of leaves off the trees, to then put around our house. And that's it. Today, we were going to go out mining again to get even more diamonds since being in the nether completely destroyed our armor. We found ourselves in a cave where we could collect diamonds and amethyst, which then led on to us finding an ancient city. Now, we could have just ignored this ancient city. However, you can get some really good loot, such as enchanted books, enchanted golden apples, but most importantly, the silence trim, which in the first chest, we got the trim. Wait, no, never mind. That's the ward trim. We also got the other side disc in the next chest. And not too long later, the warden spawned. No. Well, this is going to get interesting.
Where are you?
I'm still over here.
I think you'll be fine. Wait.
Oh my god, he's right next to me.
And not too long later, another spawned.
Another one! No!
Dude, I'm freaking out.
Where'd you go?
Dude, help.
I don't even know where you went.
What are you doing there?
Oh no! Get out of there!
Sometime later, we just said screw it and decided to run around looting all the chests in the ancient city without caring about the warden. I mean, I guess we could just outrun it anyways, so it wouldn't be too big of a deal. We looted every single chest. However, unfortunately, we could not get our hands on the silence trim. Oh well, we did get a ward trim, so that's cool too, I guess. Ooh, how many did I just spawn? But now, we could actually leave this ancient city, somehow still alive after spawning like 7 billion wardens, but oh well, we could now go back to doing what we were down here originally for, and that was to collect diamonds. Ash also found something.
I also think I found a mob spawner. This looks awfully big for a mob spawner though.
No, that's the trial chambers. But yeah, once I broke my helmet, that signified that it was probably time for us to leave the caves and return back home. Now richer than we were originally when entering into the cave. Yep, that makes sense. Back at home, it was now time to start preparing for the dragon fight. We cleared out our inventories and we also listened to the other side disc that we got from the ancient city. Man, this is such a good music disc. But after doing a few more preparations, it was time to go out and explore, looking for the stronghold. Throwing a couple of eyes, we found ourselves in an acacia village where we could get our hands on, say it with me, free food. Yeah. Eventually, after throwing more eyes, we found a ruined portal off in the distance. And after looting that, we threw another eye which turned back around, so we knew we were right above the stronghold. We dug straight down and found ourselves inside the stronghold. And you know exactly what we did here. We looted the library and eventually we also found the end portal. So after putting all the eyes into the portal, it was now time for the dragon fight. There is no way any of us would die, right? Right? No. Who do you think we are? We started shooting out all the crystals. Every single one of them. And then the dragon perched. So we went close to it and started hitting it with our sword until it flew away. So we had to go back to using our bows until it would perch again. And then it would fly away again. Yeah, you get the point. Eventually, the dragon perched one more time. So we both used our swords one more time as well, defeating the Ender Dragon. That was pretty easy. We could now collect the XP as well as the dragon egg and then bridge up, purling through the end gateway. Now it was time to find 2 end cities, so we could get 1 elytra for each of us, which, lucky for us, we spawned directly next to an end city, and it also had a ship. We both ran over to the end city, defeating all the shulkers that would get in our way. We eventually made it up to the ship so we could loot the chests, craft up a shulker to clear out my inventory, and then we could take the elytra. All we had to do now was look for another end city, which would take us quite a long time of running. Yeah. Although we did find the first end city quite fast, the next one wasn't going to be as easy to find. However, eventually we found that, so Ash could get her hands on an elytra herself. And now that meant we could finally go back home. Boom! That was a pretty successful end trip. Once we returned back home, we started clearing out our inventories since it was full of random items from the end. And this is also the day we did a couple of interesting things. If you can somehow guess what we are about to do, I'll personally, I don't know, put a sign in our world with your name on it. All right, 3, 2, 1, we got a rainbow sheep. By using a name tag, we named the sheep Jeb _, which got us a rainbow sheep. And on top of all that, we also got some pet horses. Ash started the next day by building a bridge from our house island over to a separate island which was right next to us. I also gave my horse a name, Sir Bartholomew Geraldine III Great.
It's certainly a name.
But putting that aside, we actually went back over to the other island and started flattening that out because at some point soon, we were going to begin building some structures on this island too. These couple of days were mainly preparing ourselves for the buildings. Yesterday, we flattened out the island, and today, we were going to spend the entire day collecting all the materials that we could possibly need. And then, we could actually begin building. Since we just got pet horses, we were going to go ahead and start building up a horse stable using the same materials as our house, so it could fit with the general theme with what we were going for. After a little while of building, the horse stable was pretty much complete. There was only really one thing that we thought should probably be changed. There was just so much sand on this island. So whilst Ash finished off some smaller details with the stable, I went ahead and collected loads of dirt so we could then work on replacing the sand around the stable, turning it into grass. But now that was done, it was time to start working on on the next build. This was going to be the final build we would do for a while. But putting that aside, this was going to be a smallish building for our enchant table. We just thought it could be a cool idea to have an enchant table separate from our house. So sticking to the same block theme, we built that up too. Also decorating the inside using amethyst blocks and glow berries. The next couple of days, again, we're going to be a little chill. Today, we began by replacing more of the sand with grass. Day 62 was spent adding more decorations to the new island, such as cherry trees and other random stuff like that. And then it was time to start preparing for something once again. We were now going to put our brand new enchanting room to use, doing multiple level 30 enchants to our armor and tools. These preparations were so we could go down into the massive strip mine we had. We then mined up another massive hallway where we could then spawn the Wither.
Are you ready?
Yep, let's do it. Place it. Awesome.
No, it's okay. We'll do it again. We'll do it. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah. All right. Not going to lie. This was kind of easy. You know, two people with really good weapons and armor plus down in the caves makes fighting the Wither pretty easy. Anyways, back at home, we crafted up the beacon and also figured out that you can break the beacon with literally anything. You do not need a pickaxe. You can literally break it with your fist.
My God.
What? You may recall from the other day where we went to a bastion and got a netherite upgrade template. Well, now for the next few days, we were actually going to start collecting loads of ancient debris so we could actually, you know, use those templates and get even better armor and tools. You also may notice we were using our pickaxes and not TNT or beds to collect the ancient debris. That is because we didn't have any wool or gunpowder, and it probably would have just taken way too long to collect all those items. So instead, we were just going to use our pickaxes, and when they would get low on durability, we could just use an anvil and spare diamonds to repair the pickaxe. There really isn't a whole lot to talk about when it comes to collecting ancient debris, so after collecting loads of it, we could go home and start smelting it all, which then leads onto us doing even more mining. However, this time it was in the overworld again. We were going to spend a few days strip mining to collect way more diamonds so we could duplicate the netherite upgrade templates, as well as the trims too. That wasn't until I found myself in a cave, which had something that I think is pretty rare, because I don't think I've actually found one of these before. Then again, I also may have forgotten. I found a fossil, and on top of that, this cave also had a mob spawner. That's pretty cool. But after collecting some more diamonds, it was time for us to return back home. Let's just hope that that's all the mining we would have to do, for a very long time at least. Well, you would definitely hope that would be the case, though I kind of just spent all my diamonds duplicating the netherite upgrade templates, so who knows if I'll need to go mining again. I also duplicated the wood trim using the diamonds that Ash had collected, so we could then all upgrade our armor to netherite and then make it fancy looking using the trims. Boom! Look at us. We're so fancy. And, well, for the rest of the day, we actually just listened to music discs, starting with the other side disc, and then we moved on to one of the best discs out there, the cat disc. And well, the sun started to set, so we had to go to bed. We still had a few more things that we wanted to get done in this world, and the first idea that we had in mind actually required us to do a lot of running. And when I say a lot of running, I really do mean that. Day 75, 76, 77, and 78 were all spent running around looking for a specific structure, the pillager outpost, so we could get our hands on the bottles of bad omen. This bottle item would be very important for actually not only one thing, but two different things that we were about to do. Eventually, on day 79, we found a pillager outpost. Yeah. So we could then spend the entire day going around defeating loads of pillagers until both of us had one bottle. And now that we both had a bottle, we could actually go over to a village to begin the first objective. And that was to do a raid for totems. Ash drank her bottle of bad omen, so I could save mine for another objective we would do later. And then the raid started. We destroyed the first wave, and then we spent a while running around trying to find the second wave of pillagers. We couldn't find it. That was until we noticed it was on top of a mountain, and they were all just frozen in place. This happened a couple of times, but let's skip over the boring stuff. We got our first totem, but I gave it to Ash, you know, just in case. We then continued collecting more totems. I popped a couple, but eventually the raid was complete. And now we're officially safer than ever because we literally had an item that would make us invincible. We could spend the next day running back home, finally making it back on day 83 where, well, it was time to go back to the Nether.
What? Why are there so many Endermen here? No, wait, what the heck? Oh no!
Yeah. Okay, it's time to collect more ancient debris. Yep, Ash needed a new helmet because she broke hers during the raid. So that gave us the thought, why don't we just go back to the Nether to collect more ancient debris so she could get a netherite one. And, well, at the same time, I would also be able to get more netherite to upgrade my tools to netherite too. So back in the Nether, we were going to be here for a few more days, collecting even more ancient debris. I collected 18 and I forgot how many Ash collected, but it was enough. So we could go back home. And returning back home, we could actually put our netherite to use now. Well, it'll be netherite after we smelt everything and then combine it into gold ingots at least. Using the netherite ingots, I turned all my diamond tools into netherite. And now equipped with full netherite armor, tools, a totem, the bottle of bad omen, and I don't know, 43 netherrack, we made our way over to the trial chamber that Ash found the other day. And entering inside, it is now time to do the trial chambers. Can we get a mace? Well, we were just about to find out. The first room we entered didn't have any mob spawner thingos, whatever the heck they're called. So instead, we went around destroying all the pots to get things like emeralds and iron. Because if we wanted to get anywhere close to a max beacon anytime soon, we would need a whole lot more, I don't know, ores, ingots, whatever you want to call them. Now, the trial chambers have already been out for quite a while now, and well, you might already know, they aren't really that interesting. All you do is just go into different rooms, fight off loads of mobs, and hopefully get keys from the spawners, which you could then use to open cool vaults, and hopefully get the heavy core for the mace. We went around opening loads of these vaults. However, unfortunately, after going through this entire trial chamber, we were unable to obtain the heavy core for the mace. That is sad. However, our luck in this world has already been absolutely insane, and I guess we can't have too much luck because you guys might think this video is fake or something. It's not fake. We just got insanely lucky in this video. But returning back home, day 92 was kind of one of those quiet days. All we did today was turn all of our expensive ores into their block form, and then we could place it underneath our beacon. As you can see, we're not even close to getting the max beacon just yet. We will have to get the ores another time. Yeah, it would have to be another time because we just upgraded the server to the brand new 1.21.5 Spring to Life update, and well, we were just about to go run around for a very long time, looking for everything that was a part of this update. After running around for a little while, the first feature of this update we noticed were the ambient leaves that were falling down from the trees. This looked pretty awesome, and a little while later, we actually found another feature, the wildflowers that would spawn on the ground. They were like yellow and white flowers that looked pretty cool. And on top of that,
wait. Oh my god, they added this. No way.
Wait, hold up. I'm getting flower petals, dude. I need to take these home.
just like Bedrock, trees can now spawn fallen down too. This was pretty awesome.
What is this? It glows. What is it? Fireflies. Yo, what? Oh, wait. Leaf litter. Awesome.
Leaf litter. That's kind of a cute name.
Oh my, wait a minute. Yeah. This guy's got a crazy haircut.
Honestly, what hairdresser do you go to? God damn.
The following day, we found the cold pig variant.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this guy is not the father.
Yeah, maybe. No, that does add up. Those guys might be though. There we go.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry your child was kidnapped, dude.
And that's right.
What the heck?
Is this one of the new cow types, or...?
The cold cow variant too. The warm chicken on day 95, as well as the cow and pig variants on day 96. This is also the day that Ash got another pet dog. That makes it, what, now 3 dogs or something. Yeah, something like that. We couldn't go home just yet though, because there are still a couple more features to be explored. Eventually, we found ourselves in the orange desert. I forgot what it was called, like Badlands biome or something. I don't know. We found new bushes here, and also we finally found the cactus flower. Yeah! But putting that aside, it was now time to run back home, and this was going to take a very long time, considering we did, you know, run thousands of blocks away from our house. Still running on day 98, 99, and eventually we finally found the beacon beam and returned back home on day 100, where Ash could start decorating our island with all these new 1.21.5 environmental blocks, including the firefly bushes, so we can have cool glowing lights around our house at nighttime. And while she was doing that, I crafted up a cake, and to finish these 100 days off, we listened to the cat disc. And that was it. 100 days in Duo Minecraft Hardcore. If you would like to see 200 days or another 100 days Duo video with Ash, then drop a like. Let's say 100,000 likes and we'll do something again. Also, if you're interested in playing on a Minecraft SMP, I have a free one that Java and Bedrock players can join. The IP is in my Discord. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing and watch this video next. Goodbye.